Hey, in tonight's show, we're going to look at it's not a good idea to make God angry and how to prevent it. Stick around, we'll get right after it. Good evening. My name is Ron. I'm the host of this show, and it's truly my pleasure to help you learn how to meditate. Good meditation starts with reading something thought provoking. We have some of that tonight. We are in chapter 11 of Numbers. I'm going to read a few different passages here, give you a gist of the whole situation. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire to rage among them, and he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed to Moses for help, and when he prayed to the Lord, the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberah, the place where burning, because fire from the Lord had burned among them there. So complaining isn't a good thing, doesn't make God happy. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt, and the people of Israel also began to complain. Oh, for some meat, they exclaimed. We remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt. You would think they might have learned a lesson. No, they didn't. And then the chapter goes on to explain what the manna was that God provided. Uh, it looked like coriander seeds, and it was pale yellow like gum resin. The people would go out, gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills or pounding it into in mortars. Then they boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. Okay, not the worst thing in the world, but imagine after a while people would get tired of it. And they did. And then later in the chapter, toward the end of the chapter, now the Lord sent a wind that brought quail from the sea and let them fall all around the camp. For miles in every direction, there were quail flying about 3 feet above the ground. So the people went out and caught quail all that day and throughout the night, and all the next day too. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. You'd think the next thing you'd hear is the people praising God. They spread the quail all around the camp to dry. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of the Lord blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. Doesn't sound like they ever displayed an attitude of gratitude. Let's check out our devotional book, Getting a Grip on Gratitude. The years of weariness caused by chronic pain and frustrations with my limited mobility had finally caught up with me. In my discontent, I became demanding and ungrateful. I began complaining about my husband's caregiving skills. I griped about the way he cleaned the house. Even though he's the best cook I know, I fussed about the lack of variety in our meals. When he finally shared that my grumbling hurt his feelings, I was resentful. He had no idea what I was going through. Eventually, God helped me see my wrongs, and I asked my husband and the Lord for forgiveness. Longing for different circumstances can lead to complaining and even a form of relationship damaging self-centeredness. The Israelites were familiar with this dilemma. It seems they were never satisfied and always griping about God's provision. Even though the Lord cared for his people in the wilderness by sending them bread from heaven, they began craving other food. Instead of rejoicing over the daily miracles of God's faithful and loving care, the Israelites wanted something more, something better, something different, or even something they used to have. They took out their frustrations on Moses. Trusting God's goodness and faithfulness can help us get a good grip on gratitude. Today we can thank Him for the countless ways He cares for us. Amen. Amen. God didn't tell us just to be grateful when things are going great. He told us to be grateful in all situations, good and bad. So if things aren't going great for you right now, find something to be grateful for. There always is. God's always providing something for you. And if He's not, check your attitude. There's something to meditate on. An attitude of gratitude. You all have a great night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. And if you have a suggestion for a word of the day, put it in the comment section. Good night.